It's recording. My name is Karen King, and I am the Commissioner for Public Advocacy for Erie County, as well as its Executive Director for the Commission on the Status of Women. Thank you for joining us today. We will be here to respond to your questions regarding the RFP, RFQ for the Trailblazing Women project. Does everyone want to go around and introduce themselves now?
I'll go next. I'm
Okay,
Bonnie
Bonnie.
Lawrence. I'm Deputy Commissioner of the Erie County Department of Environment and Planning, and also on the steering committee for the Trailblazing Women Monument Project.
I'm Kelly Hayes McAloney, and I serve on the steering committee for the Trailblazing Women of Western New York project. Thank you.
I'm Maria Ortiz. I'm a senior planner with Erie County's Department of Environment and Planning, and I am helping out with this process.
My name is John Hood. I'm an environmental compliance specialist with the Department of Environment and Planning, and I'm the project manager for the site engineering and preparation project that's underway right now.
And I'm William Koch, and I'm a local sculptor. And I've been working in Buffalo for 30 years. And where's the rest of the people?
Susan, I see your name. Do you want to say something?
I am speaking. They can't hear us. What about that?
Susan?
I'm here.
Can unmute yourself. You keep muting yourself. Okay, speak louder. Hello?
Has unmuted.
Susan?
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, but you have to speak a little bit louder.
It says that the host has unmuted Susan, so I don't know what's going on.
Sounds good now. Thank you.
Okay, and RM.
Can't hear us.
There's a note in the chat about RM. It says Ron Minio can't be here today, so I'm sitting in for him.
Oh, is that in the chat?
Yes,
Okay. Thank you, Bonnie.
no problem.
All right.
I'll keep an eye on the chat.
Okay. So shall we get started? Questions? Kelly, do you want to provide an overview? Forgive me, I forgot we talked about doing that. Do you want to provide just a quick overview? And then we'll go directly into the questions?
Sure, be happy
Thank
to.
you.
Thank you. So the Trailblazing Women of Western New York project began in 2017, and it began from a desire and a need to address the lack of statues and monuments dedicated to women in the public realm, internationally, nationally, and of course in Buffalo, Western New York as well. So a number of architects and members of the community who are also gender activists began working with Dr. Karen King and the county to develop a process where we could identify women who have contributed greatly to the community of Buffalo during their lifetimes, and that the community, of course, would respect and would like to see statues to them. So we have 3 statues that are going to be dedicated at one site, which is at the Erie County Public Library at the Central Library at Lafayette Square. So the 3 women are Louise Blanchard Bethune, FAIA, first professional woman architect in the United States; Mary Talbert, civil and women's rights activists from the Gilded Age era; and Geraldine Sitta Green, an educator and member of the Haudenosaunee Nation. And so all three women were exceptionally gifted and were leaders in their community. We've been working really hard since 2018 on fundraising and on developing the site and the strategies towards this. We have gone through a pretty significant site review process, and we've also hired a consultant, Troutman Associates, along with Joy Keebler, landscape architect, to finalize that site analysis. So that information should be available to our artists very soon. Right now, we're just finalizing a number of design options, along with the pricing, et cetera, for that. The budget for the project is $500,000. Right now, we've assumed $100,000 for site and $400,000 for the artwork. We originally began thinking that this project would be a bronze sculpture, a life-size representational. However, we are open to other ideas, other materials, other expressions, but we do expect that this would be somewhat representational, but we're certainly open to various interpretations. And then the other thing I would say is that we do envision that these three sculptures would, in one way or another, speak to each other, but we certainly are encouraging that there be teams of artists, especially very diverse teams of artists, who would work collaboratively together to make sure that the expression of each of these women is, represents their community and represents the work that they did. Thank you. I think that's pretty much everything. Karen, do you want to add anything? Bonnie, Marielle, John? Okay, thanks.
Well, I know John just sent an email right before we got on this call with some specs based on your conversation with Troutman. So that'll probably come up in our questions, I imagine.
If I could just give a quick overview. So when we sent out the RFP for the initial site design, it turns out that the location for this first project is on the plaza at the Central Library, as Kelly had mentioned. So that plaza is also the roof of a storage area beneath that plaza. So there's some engineering particulars. And so there was a preliminary load assessment, assuming a 15-foot diameter area with 3 one-ton statues, a 6-foot concrete slab, and 3 feet of soil stone mixture. And the analysis incorporated several particular structural beams underneath that deck, as well as the concrete pad sections that overlapped in that particular area. So that initial design had I believe, like I said, the assumptions were, 1-ton statues each. And in that configuration, it was calculated that it was about 540 pounds per square feet was an acceptable weight load for that configuration. But as Kelly said, we've looked at some more ambitious design elements that may include some stone elements that may change the distribution of those initial assumptions. So we don't have a working number for you yet on that, but those were some of the preliminary assumptions that we made in the beginning of the design thing, and we should have those numbers soon, and we'll make them public as part of this procurement.
Well, that's kind of an area that I was questioning because, a lot of my work has got granite involved in it, and you're talking granite's I think it's about 160 pounds per cubic foot. So over an expansive area, say it's 3 figures that are on one singular base, then your weight loads may not handle this if it's, say the base is 4 feet high and 10 feet long and maybe 5 feet wide?
Yeah,
It's
the nature of that space has to be considered in that artistic design, in most importantly, the fact that it's a deck. It's not a solid ground. It has structural, there's space underneath that.
so you
And in
can't
fact,
even
that
build
plat, I'm sorry.
you can't even build a true, well, your foundation is basically going to be that 6 foot of concrete, right? Is that 6 foot in depth?
I don't know what the thick of that of the deck is, but yeah, it is a confined space, and it does have structural considerations because it is the roof of a lower area that is a working space, and then the existing planter has a design element that includes like an isolation bladder that prevents water leakage. That's all integrated as part of that design. And the plaza, the concrete itself on the plaza can't be disturbed because there's an integrated snow melt, glycol snow melt system in there that keeps the walkway clear during the winter months here. So those were all assumptions on that site design.
Okay. Well, that's going to affect actually what the designs, once you get that information, because that's going to change things. It's less likely that whatever this is sitting on, or whether the figures are actually maybe interacting, but they're in their own individual spaces, as opposed to being a grouping of 3 figures together. I mean, that's got some bearing on it. So, okay, that was my major question, is what's under there.
I hope it was helpful at this point, but we don't have a total square footage top number for you. But it is going to be based because it depends on sort of where it sits. So you can envision that underneath that platter, that planter, there are cross members, steel cross members under the concrete with some extra support mechanisms that were put in place when the planter was put in place, as well as that's the fact that that whole concrete slab is an integrated snow melt system that can't be disturbed.
Right.
So I think that those are really the key things, as opposed to that top line dollar or top line per square foot calculation, which we should have soon. But as I said earlier, this one was based on that preliminary design.
Well, I know that, like, if the figures are 6 to 7 foot, you're not going to go over it. It's going to be at the most 1,000 pounds per figure.
Yeah, this assumed
They're
2,000.
figuring it, huh?
This assumed 2,000 pounds per figure.
Right. So well, that would be like a 10-foot figure, probably.
Please also remember that at this point, to submit your qualifications, you don't need to have a design already
Right.
planned out. So we would be able to get those numbers later on. And you'd still be able to submit your qualifications by the due date if you are
Right.
still interested.
Yeah, that's fine, but I like to know some of this ahead of time. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, guys. We have a question from Susan Geisler Studios. My name is Pete Henderson. I'm Susan's husband, and I help her with some of the back office type stuff. So just a quick question on the installation for Kelly. You're budgeting 100,000. Are we assuming that the artist is responsible for doing the installation, or is that going to be done by the county under Susan's supervision or the artist supervision, or how would that work?
John, do you want to take that? Because of the sensitivity of the site, there'll have to be a collaboration. It won't just be the artist working alone. The cost of that is borne in the project. But because of the nature of the construction of the plaza deck, we'll have to coordinate with them. So we'll be definitely building bases, but also we'll be working with the artist on the installation of it. The project is bearing the cost of the installation.
So the county, the public library, central library, has to undergo it's not a nationally listed historic building, but it does have state historical preservation approval requirements. So the artist design team will have to work with the site design team as well as the library, I guess the facility management to put together a what they call a SHPO application to make sure that the change in character is acceptable to the nature of the building and its historical relationship to the city. So there is going to be some coordination on that, but there is a committee that is assembled that has members from these teams. And once the artists group is selected, then the site design team will be able to share some additional details. And that's moving along in parallel.
Is there a site map right now that can be anybody can look at or download or?
Yes, the site map was uploaded it was supposed to be included with the RFP. That's my fault. It was not. It is on the purchasing website now, and the Q&As that were the questions that were sent in ahead of this informational session are also up on the purchasing website now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if you look at an aerial view of the central library, there's a triangular stone planter on the plaza on the I want to say on the northwest side closest to the building.
Okay.
So just a quick question on the documentation. On page 2, paragraph 2A, there's an indication that a vendor form is attached here too as Schedule C, and the documentation that Susan received did not have that Schedule C on there.
Correct. That was also missing, and it's been uploaded to the purchasing website.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if you go to the purchasing website, there's the original RFP, and then there's typically additional files where the addenda and responses to questions are posted on that site.
Thank you.
Mary Ellie, would we be able to put a link to that in the chat? If you have that handy, could you throw it in there? Thank you. So you should have the link right to that now in the chat.
Hey, thanks, guys.
You might be muted, Mary Ellie.
Thank you, John. I was.
Any other questions from Ron Minio's shop? I know he's not here, but the person representing him, any questions from that shop?
I had a silly question just from Pete Henderson. On page 11, there are some capital letters which spell out BIPOC.
Yes, we're just going to interrupt you. That was answered in the clarifications, which is up on the
Okay.
website.
Okay, great, thanks.
I can share the site illustration that we put up on the website if anyone wants to look at it now and ask questions.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Mary Ellen. Please do that.
Just real quick. All right. So this is the illustration that was placed on the website. It kind of has an overview, general dimensions, approximately 64 feet, approximately 74 feet. All of those will have to be field verified. It's overlaid over the original construction drawings or site plan drawings. My terminology might be a bit off. So you can see some of the elevation changes, which is pretty significant. There's drains and kind of the area to be avoided. We know that the structures can be and are planned to be in this central planting area, but the rest of this green area may also be included in the overall site redesign. Does anyone have any questions that we may be able to answer at this point before all the structural detail is set up later on?
No, other than it's going to take a big crane from the street to put it up.
Yeah, the construction crews are restricted in their usage. They have to use hand tools for the preparation even, because of the nature of the deck.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is to bring those, just to bring those into the site, whatever it is, if it's stone or whatever, and with bronze, I'm like, it's a long way. It would have to have a crane from the street. I don't see how you could do it any other way.
Yeah, one of the things that this drawing doesn't really indicate is on that on the north end. There's a just beyond where that potential area is a drop-off area, and that area down beneath there is a flat area that is not a, it's, you know, it's a grassy area, but I suppose they could probably make arrangements to get a maintenance vehicle closer to the wall than may appear in this drawing.
Yeah, I think you could, that sidewalk is certainly large enough to support a crane. So that so basically you could have a crane located right on the other side of the wall.
Yeah,
Okay.
on that north end.
Correct.
Other questions?
I'm good.
William, is granite the only medium that you work in?
No, I actually built a bronze foundry with two other artists at the Maritime Center at 90 Arthur Street in Black Rock, and I've been doing bronze. Well, I did the sculpture of Jimmy Griffin right downtown. So
Baseball stadium. Ah, that's yours. Nice.
yeah, but so I've been doing bronze and stone for 30 years. So
Because we're open to other mediums, you know, that just can endure the, you know, the elements.
yeah, well, there's always fiberglass. There's not many elements, because, well, I do a lot of cemetery work, and they've tried so many different things over the years, and it always comes back to granite and bronze, or stainless steel or something like that, but there's not many things that really hold up in our environment. And the worst idea would be if somebody told you to put marble in because it'll wear away in 20 years.
Right.
So, which is, of course, you've all seen it out in the cemetery, is the broken marble angels. So, but anyways, thanks for the information. It's been good.
Thank you.
And everybody saw the link?
Yep.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna go check out.
Okay. Thank you, William.
Thank you.
If there are there any other questions? No?
Nope. Thanks, guys.